The rivalry has been built through these infrequent clashes on very big stages. And this afternoon is no different, with a place in the semi-finals the prize for the winners and a place on the plane home for the losers. Two German coaches provide another interesting subtext. Holger Osik and Wolfgang Sidka know each other well, know each other just as well as the two teams who will triumph today. The celebrated stars of Australia or the formidable team ethic of Iraq, so used to confronting and overcoming adversity in their everyday lives. And lest we forget, Andy Harper, the reigning champions of Asia.
Well, I haven't forgotten, and they earned that title. They fought tooth and nail and played some great stuff 4 years ago. They should have made the final stages of World Cup qualifying for 2010, but for one reason or another, hugely controversial reasons, they fell by the wayside. But this is a country, this is a football team that has plenty to offer, and the team that wins here today is going to have to earn it. Australia primed and pumped to exact some sort of retribution for their group humiliation, their group match humiliation 4 years ago. Iraq, for their part, are looking to defend their title with the honour that they've shown so much as a football team over the last 4 year cycle. And they'll be up really raring to go to make sure they get through to the semi-finals at Australia's expense. This game is one for the ages. Cannot wait for kick-off. It'll be 90 minutes plus, very potentially.
Yeah, we've had two cracking quarterfinals already. Two more to come today. Australia, Iraq now, and a little bit later, South Korea and Iran. Conditions perfect here at the Al Sadd Stadium. We've had cloud and rain over the last couple of days, but they have cleared. Brilliant sunshine, the pitch immaculate. Everybody ready, everybody waiting for the two teams, Australia and Iraq.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Australia. السيدات والسادة، يرجى الوقوف عند عزف النشيد الوطني لمنتخب أستراليا. الآن national anthem of Iraq، والآن مع النشيد الوطني لمنتخب العراق.
Well, in 2007, they were not only beaten by Iraq, but Australia were broken by a team that outplayed, outthought and outfought them. 4 years on, revenge is on the minds of the Socceroos. They have promised there will be no kangaroo hops today, no overconfidence. This Australia, they say, is older, wiser and better equipped. This is how the Socceroos are equipped today. 2 changes, Luke Wiltshire and David Carney return in place of Jade North and the suspended Brett Emerton. Matt Mackay moves over to left midfield and Brett Holman is on the right. Tim Cahill has recovered from his bumps and bruises and wins his 50th cap. Iraq make 3 changes. Ahmed Ibrahim pays the price for his nervousness against North Korea and is replaced in defence by Salam Shaka. Hamad Mohammed returns to partner Yunus Mahmoud in attack in place of Mustafa Karim. And Qatar Jassim, the match winner against the Koreans, makes way for one of the scourges of Australia 4 years ago, Hawa Mullah Mohammed. Our referee today is Abdulrahman Mohammed from Qatar, who also took charge of the draw between the Socceroos and South Korea. His 2 assistants are from Qatar too, Mohammed Daman and Hassan Al-Tawadi. The 2 skippers, Lucas Neal of Australia and Yunus Mahmoud, the Iraqi striker. 2 German coaches, of course, on the sidelines today. Wolfgang Sidka of Iraq and Holger Osik of Australia. Osik was head of coaching education at the German Federation when Sidka came through the system to earn his license. Will master or pupil prevail today? Well, conditions are perfect at the Jassim bin Hamad Stadium. The cloud and rain of the last couple of days have cleared away. Lovely sunshine today in the Qatari capital. And the pitch is postcard perfect. Iraqis in all white today with the green trim. Socceroos in their familiar green and gold. We've had 2 absolutely corking quarterfinals thus far at this Asian Cup. 2 more to come. Australia, Iraq now, and South Korea, Iran to follow. Can Australia make the last 4 for the very first time at the Asian Cup? Well, 4 years ago they wilted in the blistering heat of Bangkok. Can Australia avenge that defeat here in the desert of Doha, or will it be another tale of disappointments and recrimination, Andy Harper?
Well, they certainly can. The Australians, in my opinion, 4 years better battle-hardened after qualifying through Asia for the last World Cup.
Yellow card issued, Andy, within the first 25 seconds to Nashat Akram. Leading with the elbow. And clearly, the Qatari referee is going to have no trouble with the players. That's his message early doors, and the free kick already taken by Australia. Luke Wiltshire cleared, only as far as Harry Kewell. Well, interesting opening.
Well, the referees have been pretty vigilant on players leading with their arm in the challenge. For that, I congratulate them, so long as they remain consistent. But this game is just set up so beautifully. There's a good crowd building here at the Al Sadd Stadium, of course, heavily favouring Iraq. Themselves not in great football form. They were good against Iran, and they lost against Iran. 2 pretty flat performances to follow, qualifying for this quarter-final. I'm very confident they'll be able to get back to a good level against Australia. Such a rivalry between these 2 teams.
Well, again, the referee is very quick to penalise the overzealous challenge on this occasion from Salam Shaka. Well, it was a late challenge too. Harry Kewell unceremoniously dumped on the seat of his pants. David Carney. Headed by Wiltshire. Brought down beautifully by Harry Kewell, and tees up Matt Mackay here. Oh, and he played the ball in behind Tim Cahill. What a chance for Australia early on.
Terrific opening early for Australia. Mackay looking to set up a teammate. Maybe at the early stage it would have been worthwhile testing the goalkeeper, even from that rather acute angle. But I think with the selection of Jassim on the ball now is evidence that Iraq are expecting a physical fight. And I think that's only vindicated by the couple of heavy challenges they put in to start the match. They're primed for a big assault. Iraq, and I just should qualify my commentary on Matt Mackay there. He was quite right to try and set up a teammate. The angle to goal, as that replay so clearly showed, was closed.
Corner for the Socceroos. Tim Cahill, always a danger. Wiltshire floats it in. Bright start by Australia. Harry Kuehl. 1-2 between Wiltshire and Holman. And a throw for Australia. Interesting to see how the injured duo who returned today, Wiltshire, who will take this throw in, and David Carney, face up in the wake of those injuries which kept them out of the previous game. Carney in particular a concern after popping the shoulder. This is Holman. Matt Mackay shifted forward to the left of midfield today. Larry to Carney. Mackay involved again. Holman, just let it run across his body, and he's been pickpocketed in midfield by Qusay Munir. This is Hamad, who now links up with Yunus Mahmoud, but not a sure touch by the Iraqi captain.
Well, Qusay Munir, he is wonderful at stealing possession. Brett Holman just did it. It was looking promising for Australia in build-up otherwise. Claiming a free kick. Qusay, won't be the first time he breaks up an Australian attack. It is a good example of how effective he's been in this tournament. Interestingly, as Iraq swung upfield, the other talking point of their tournament so far was the sloppiness of Yunus Mahmoud. Indeed, he lost possession really easily when Iraq had a good situation brewing.
Interesting that the referee again pulled up the Iraqis for leading with the arm, the aerial challenge. Wiltshire. The test for Ali Bahama. Bernd Stanger, the former Iraqi coach, did tell us, Andy, that perhaps the Iraqis were a little vulnerable in the centre of defence. Maybe that's been targeted by Olga Osik. Free kick for Iraq.
Yeah, I don't think central defending has been a strong point of a number of the teams in this tournament. I think central midfield has been very well patrolled by most outfits. I do agree with them. I think if Australia can get regular possession, and they've certainly started the match in that vein, then Iraq's questionable defending will get a severe test.
Mullah Mohamed's winning the throw-in. He is left-footed, but he's starting on the right today for Iraq. Nashat Akram, very gifted playmaker, got a spell with Twente in the Dutch Eredivisie. He'll be somebody that Australia will have to keep a little quiet this afternoon.
Indeed, and of course where he was teammates with David Carney, Australia's left fullback. And he has to be kept quiet, Nashat Akram. He's such an elegant player, but what a lot of people wouldn't appreciate is the amount of ground he's covered this tournament. He's in the top 3 across the entire Asian Cup for 2011 after the group stages for kilometres run. Now, take that as you will and for what you will, but there's more than just silk to Nashat Akram's game. He's already sitting on a yellow card. That took about 5 seconds to arrive. I wonder if that'll take the edge off his creative concentration.
Minovsky has found Cahill. And there was a high boot there from Salah Saeed, but it was legal. Or was it, Andy?
Should have been. Tim Cahill stooped, but only marginally. have sympathy for defenders who reach in to get the ball and the striker ducks his head. It's more the head going down towards the ball than the boot coming up. But on that occasion, I think the free kick would have been out of order.
One of the scourges of Australia in recent years. Scored that wonderful winner in the World Cup qualifier in Dubai. One looping shot which lifted over Mark Schwarzer. Proved to be the winning goal. Australia penalised again, this time in a more dangerous position.
This will be Australia's first real test in defence. Interestingly, all the big guys for Iraq have made the trek forward.
Yeah, Ali Rahima is up there. Abdulrahman on set-piece duty. Rayyan gets it away on the volley, back in by Akram. Up in the air by Valeri. Brought down by Hamad Mohamad. Lovely left foot he's got Hawa. Awkward bounce for Neil. Tidied up by Wiltshire. Touched by Jedinak. Kuhl will thread it out towards Carney on the left flank. It's well played by the Socceroos. Kuhl. Not quite the surety of touch there from Harry Kuhl. Valeri quick to the challenge.
Importantly for Australia, their main touch player, Harry Kuhl, has gotten into the rhythm very early, as opposed to Iraq. Akram is not hitting the groove.
Played almost 10 minutes at Al Sadd. Very brisk tempo to this quarter-final. Neil goes long. Now mistake by the defender, Harry Kuhl. And just could not get away from Ali Rahima.
That was good anticipation from Ali Rahima. Needed to be, because Salam Shaka missed his cue completely.
Days gone by, Andy. Perhaps Harry Kuhl's pace would have taken him away from the defender. Referee just having a word with Harry Kuhl and Basim Abbas, the distinctive ball dome. Wiltshire preparing to deliver another one. Cahill always the threat, or one of them anyway. Out here for McMackay. Neil, Holman is onside here. Oh, and the bounce just deceived him. But he sprung the offside trap there, Brett Holman. A couple of half-decent openings for Australia, Andy.
The opening to this game hasn't disappointed. I was hoping that we weren't spoiled with the quarter-final action yesterday. Two belting games that saw Japan and Uzbekistan go through to the semi-finals. On such a high after those games. Here's the chance for Holman. Just kicked in the turf. The spin killed Australia's midfield. It was a tremendously timed run. A beautiful ball over the top from Lucas Neal.
He was 6'2", not 5'8". He might have got there. This is Hawa. Checks back for Nashat Akram. Hussein Munir.
It's been a very bright start by both teams. Australia with the early points.
Lovely feat by Hawa Mohamad. Yunus. Here he goes. Should be Schwartz's. In safe hands.
The speed of release from Mark Schwarzer is instructive. And Australia not looking to let this game settle at all. It suits Australia to keep the pace up. To taken release from Mark Schwarzer, his first contribution, and I think it speaks volumes as to what Australia are setting out to do here today. The catch and release, Australia are away. It's a nice cross, but Schwarzer had its measure.
The Iraq supporters heavily outnumbering the Australians in the stands. Australia have made a good start to this game. Wiltshire. Tim Cahill just slipped over on the edge of the box. Iraq looking to release Yunus Mahmood. Watched all the way by Neil. Now Harry Kewell is just offside. Tried to arc the run. Not quite enough.
That's a pity for Australia, for Harry Kewell, because again, in moving out, Iraq's defence was all over the place. Luke Wiltshire had read the situation. So had Harry Kewell, but he just hadn't quite timed his run properly. Encouragement for the green and gold.
Holman restored to the right flank today, which is where he's playing for his club in the Netherlands. Lovely little feint by Harry Kewell to take him away from the defender, at least initially. He's got a corner.
Missed his tackle easily again. Two men who ply their professional trade in Turkey go toe-to-toe as Australia win through Kewell. The corner, the result.
Wiltshire's had a couple of goes at getting this right. Harry Kewell and Jassim just having a bit of a cuddle. As Wiltshire prepares to deliver. Off an Iraqi heads. Take two for Wiltshire. More pace as he drives it hard across the face of goal. That's going to be an Iraqi throw-in.
Terrific tussle between Jassim and Harry Kewell. Kewell ever so subtly on that occasion. Just leaning the shoulder into Jassim, which is forcing him onto his keeper. Kewell doing the best he can to make sure the ref doesn't see it. He's stopped the play to have a chat a couple of times in those corner situations.
Munir trying to make progress. Two central midfielders for Iraq. Bernd Stanger calls them the two rocks in the desert. Munir and Hisham Akram. Vital cogs in the Iraqi team. Quarter of an hour played at Al Sadd. Australia 0, Iraq 0. In the third quarter-final of this 15th Asian Cup. Karim runs over the ball, so that means Hawar Mohammed will deliver it in front of the Australian supporters. Yedinak Latayes, Nashan Akram followed up. Might drop here for the Iraqis. Danger here for Australia. Averted by Valeri.
Well defended, Australia. Firstly, with Sash Ognenovski getting parallel to the ground, and this is a very common ploy from Iraq to hit across to the back post. That's outstanding work from Ognenovski, taking it off the boot of the skipper Yunus Mahmood, but it's the reverse pass to the back post, and Carl Valeri read it really well. Conceded the corner, however.
It'll be an outswinger from Hawar. It was above Nashan Akram, away from danger by Lucas Neal. Harry Kewell foraging for the ball. He's done very well, Harry Kewell. Wiltshire with the switch. Cahill's cushion header. Carney arriving in supports. Nobody waiting in the middle for Australia. That's a pity, really.
Well done from Mahdi Karim. Composure. Plenty of jostling going in either penalty area.
Munir. lovely ball. Hamad up against Wiltshire. Nashat a grab. Just glides over the pitch, doesn't he, Nashat? He's not got great pace, but boy, he's got great skills. Scampering after this one, being pursued by Mahdi Karim. Cahill dropping deep. Carney looking for options. Larry down the line, it's a good ball too. Carney. First the other. He's managed to find Holman too, who was all alone. Maybe had a little more time than he realised, Andy.
Yeah, and I think he had a better option in Tim Cahill on the edge of the D. Maybe the noise created by the Iraq support, which is voluminous. That Holman couldn't hear the cries from Tim Cahill, who was centre field, ready to crack a goal. Beautiful ball from Carl Valeri. Release David Carney in the first place.
Six times they've met, Australia and Iraq. 3 Australian wins, 1 draw. 2 Iraq victories. It was a moment involving Brett Holman. Samar Saeed. Mahdi Karim. What a ball that is. Fortunately for Iraq, Hamad was offside.
Yeah, clearly offside. Hamad needn't have been. For the sake of half a yard, that is just so easy to fix. Iraq are away. It goes into the hands, and woe is me is the gesticulation, but really and truly, needn't happen. A player of his experience and quality.
Neil. Intercepted by Hamad, who's just signed for a club in Iran. Most of these Iraqi internationals play overseas due to the problems back in their homelands. Of course, gives them such motivation on the football field. Certainly did 4 years ago. Mahdi Karim. Samar Saeed looking for the run. It's a clever play by Mahdi Karim. Just dropped off Carney, waited for the error. It in, but Neil unhurried and untroubled. Cure linking with Cahill. Cahill has been shot off the ball, and the Iraqi players and supporters don't think that should have been a free kick.
Yeah, well, I'm with them. I thought Jassim did then what he does so well and steal the ball. Nevertheless, Australia weren't waiting around. It was a very quickly taken free kick. Australia, in my opinion, at their best when they have this aggressive mindset. There's nothing cagey necessarily about what they're doing. They're well organised. The passing's been good, the movement's been good. But underpinning all that has been the mentality of the team to pressurise their opponents with and without the ball. I think Australia in the last World Cup qualifying cycle against Iraq struggled because that wasn't the mentality of the team. You can't afford to invite Iraq onto you. Play too cautious because, as we've seen, they'll rip you to pieces. The question is, for how long can Australia maintain the rage?
captain. Cahill for Mackay. Breaks for the Brisbane Roar midfielder. Now Miller Jedinak, great goal-scoring form, of course, for Australia. Last couple of games. Almost broke through for Matt Mackay. That's been the story, really, thus far for Australia as we pass the halfway mark of the first half. Just a few half openings, yet to really lead to anything tangible. Sitka has been pretty vocal in the press this week, saying that his team has had one day less to prepare for this quarter-final. He feels that is important. Really just trying to throw the pressure all onto Australia. Really, Socceroos don't need the extra pressure. The expectation back home is to at least reach the semi-finals. Valeri has given a cheap ball away. Howard has made good progress here for Iraq. Takes a deflection off Lucas Neal. Corner.
Well, he lost the moment. Mullah Mohammed, he lost the moment. Don't quite see it there. In the end, he's won the corner, but it could have been so much more. Yunus Mahmood was free of defenders for most of that run into the penalty area, and there was a moment when Hawa could have tried to find his captain and striker. He delayed. The corner is the best they could get. It might still be good enough.
Salam Shaka is up there, just towards the near post. Jedinak, always competent in aerial duels. Rayyan. Switch of play for Mahdi Karim. The defender Salam Shaka has stayed up following that corner. He's not retreated back in the hope that it might just come his way. Munir. It's control by Samal Saeed. Just a little lull in proceedings. Fairly lively opening here at Al Sadd.
That's a great contest. I'm gripped by what's happening in the centre of the park. Jedinak and Valeri for Australia. The moment Iraq gets some settled possession, how they're dealing with Hussein Munir and Nashat Akram. It's a real game of chess in there, and Nashat Akram is covering so much ground.
Here's Basim Abbas. Played upfield by Salam Shaka. Schwarzer with time to consider his options. 86th cap today. One behind Alex Tobin's all-time record. Could break it in the final if Australia get that far. Long way to go before they even win this match. This is Brett Holman. Too comfortable for Anita Hamer.
It's a poor turnover from Holman because Iraq have come right back into the game. little counter-attack from Australia could have picked them back a fraction. The turnover allows Iraq to set their sail again. And Australia are going to have to nip this in the bud. They'll find themselves chasing the game if they allow the momentum to swing from this point forward. This is a key part of the first half. 27.5 minutes gone. Australia with a very bright opening. Iraq survived. And now it's the Lions of Mesopotamia who are looking to flex their muscles.
Valeri, Australia trying to play out under heavy pressure. They've got a bit of a release. Foul on Kuhl. Taken quickly by Holman. Wilkshire with the switch, looking for Mackay. Might drop for Mackay. Well, they couldn't steer it towards the goal, only over it.
Well, he just read that brilliantly, Matt Mackay. He knew exactly what was coming. He read it superbly and just too heavy on the touch. The loop on the back header didn't help him either, in fairness, but a great chance for Australia's left midfielder.
Goes for handball against Hamad. Heeded by the Qatari referee. Stamped his authority early on this game, clamping down on the use of the elbow in the aerial challenges. Nasher Akram after 25 seconds. Saeed. Goalkeeper Mohamed Qasid. It's number 2 to Noor Sabri 4 years ago. He's very much made the goalkeeping slot his own. It's 12 months. Cahill conceding the throw-in. There was some doubt over Tim Cahill this week. Missed a training session and had an MRI scan on his ankle. Takes a lot to keep Cahill out of the starting 11 though. And we played half an hour. Still goalless. This is Qusay Munir on the ball for Iraq. Got a space here for Ahmad Mohamed. Qusay. Nashat Akram out for Mahdi Karim. Hamad let it go through the legs, looking for Yunus behind. Matt Mackay has given away the ball. Power. Corner for Iraq.
We can't give up international football, not against the defending champions of Asia. Matt Mackay turned and his teammate David Carney a little bit of verbal. Reckon he got the help he needed. Part of the competitive tension of the occasion, I'd suggest. In the end, no harm done.
At least not yet.
Well, it's been a sequence of corners for Iraq.
Mahdi Karim to deliver it. Then the big guys up for Iraq, and Luke Wilkshire league's highest. Helped on by Mackay, picked up by Nashat Akram. Being hustled and harried by Holman. Now Hauer is likewise by Mackay. Nashat Akram with a bit of room to manoeuvre. Yedinak heads him off at the pass. Now Basim Abbas. Cahill away. Good pressure by Iraq. Volleyed into touch by David Carney.
Poor pass from Nashat Akram. Expect more from him in those situations. The ball kept finding him. It was like a magnet. And 3 or 4 attempts to prise open Australia's attack. He really never came close. His team needs more.
Deft feet by Nashat Akram. And flag was raised for offside on the far touchline. Australia can breathe easily again. Well, Schwarzer not yet been called into action. It's a tight one, but the correct decision. They are starting to probe Iraq. Possession stats fairly even. Iraq so consistent at these Asian Cup competitions. They've reached the knockout phase at every Asian Cup that they've entered, bar 1972. Of course, went the whole distance 4 years ago. Wonderful memories for the Lions of Mesopotamia. They do say, Andy, that retaining your crown is even more difficult than winning it.
Well, strangely, when you look at the winners of the Asian Cup, truism doesn't bear out. South Korea won their only 2 back-to-back. Japan won 3 in the trot and then were knocked out this time last Asian Cup for 4 on the trot. Iran won 3 consecutive.
Under by Mahdi Karim. Duel up against Jassim. Just wondered for a second there, Andy, whether we're going to get a famous overhead kick.
I think we were. He was teeing up for the famous passive bus bicycle kick clearance. We saw 300 of them in the Asian Cup of 2007. He hasn't been a walk-up start for left fullback of this tournament. Might have surprised some people.
The feeling is he's perhaps carrying a bit too much timber. He's in the lineup today. His experience perhaps vital. Over-eager, Yunus Mahmoud and Sasha Ognanovsky deep in conversation. Clearly a push, and then whilst you're watching that replay, a bit of a shank by Sasha Ognanovsky has put Luke Wiltshire in a bit of a tight spot. Just telling Ognanovsky and Mahmoud to cut it out. Goal kick. It's going to be a good contest, that, isn't it? Yunus against Sasha Ognanovsky. Plenty of talking going on. Always happens between central defenders and central strikers.
As it should. But, Yunus Mahmoud, his form this tournament hasn't been what we've come to expect, nevertheless. The evidence is very clear. You can't afford to take your eye off him. He'll have 91 quiet minutes, jump up in the 92nd and hurt you. 1 moment's lapse is all it will take from Australia's central defenders for Yunus to capitalise.
Yep, the Desert Fox, as he's known. 34 goals in 86 internationals. Australia get the decision. Iraq fans don't like it. There's Carl Valeri's final statistics. If you want more on those, go to the AFC's official website. This is not a bad position for Australia. After weathering a bit of Iraq pressure, a chance of their own perhaps. Neil and Ognanovsky, it was Carney delivers, it was Ognanovsky who got on the end of it.
Frustrated is Australia's number 6, Sasha Ognanovsky. Stanley felt he might have done better with that chance. He was moving away from goal and he was under pressure. Close attention from Salam Shaka. Australia, it's a real advantage for them, set pieces. They tower above their Iraqi opponents here today. Really only Salam Shaka, who maybe Q7 there, who are of the same height as the likes of Ogmanovsky. Mila Jedinak, Timmy Kale's prowess in the air. Lucas Neal moving forward as well.
Feels for handball, particularly by Harry Kewell. Referee says no. Cahill. Holman. Spreads the play for Carney. Now Mackay. They'll hang it up looking for Cahill, who jumped early. Jassim Abbas partly clears. Jedinak back for Wiltshire. He's on his own here, Luke Wiltshire, but still gets the cross in. Into touch off Mila Jedinak. Well, it's been a real arm wrestle this, Andy.
It has. Australia had the opening moments, the opening minutes, the opening period. There's no doubt that Iraq came back and they've had the better of the last 15 minutes, and Australia have just managed to arrest that slide of theirs.
Strength by Yunus Mahmood. But the flag was raised for offside against Hawa. Jedinak. To Wiltshire. Short for Kewell. Space really at a premium. Both teams having to work very hard to try and create it. Australia trying to build again through Neal. He was left a little bit short there by Valeri.
Nevertheless, I think Australia are better in possession when Valeri takes up that deep position, keeps the game in front of him, receives passes off the central defenders. As long as he's not level with the central defenders, then I think Australia can use that as a good platform.
Kewell. Ogmanovsky, good ball. Flicked on by Mackay. Holman and Cahill unable to combine. Few signs of frustration from Holger Osik in the technical zone. Just threw his arms in the air. A bit frustrated is the German coach. The Australian German coach, that is. Looked like handball that by Cahill. To Carney. Neal. Cahill to Wiltshire. Now a bit of space for Brett Holman. Threads it through, a good ball, Mackay! Well, that's the third half chance Matt Mackay has had. And at least this time he forces the save out of Mohamed Kassim.
Well, what Matt Mackay brings to this national team is a well-timed and a very dangerous run from midfield. Angled that beautifully. All Holman had to do was find the spot, which he did.
And here is Holman in behind Jassim Abbas, at least temporarily. Iraq just stretched for the moment. Now Australia penalised for a foul.
That's a clear foul. No question about that. Holman does look dangerous. Bursts out of midfield. Matt Mackay in particular. And even half a yard either side of the keeper would have asked a question.
his favoured left foot, Matt Mackay. He'll be disappointed. It's funny, isn't it, that the three best half chances of the game really have all fallen to one player, Matt Mackay.
Well, it's his eagerness, it's his mobility, it's the intelligence of his running that's got him into those positions.
Cahill being leaned upon. Kewell turning. Harry Kewell! Oh, it's over the top. Well, goodness me. Credit to the referee because he played on. And Harry Kewell was through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. A yellow card's been issued to Yunus Mahmoud, I think, for arguing he feels the foul should have gone Iraq's way. I have to say my initial thought was that Cahill had been fouled. But play on was the decision, and Harry Kewell just could not provide the finish.
Well, this is outstanding work to make the chance from Harry Kewell. The way he used his body here, the touch and roll. Hamad just left stranded, but Harry Kewell butchered it from there. It's arguably the sweetest left foot Australia's ever produced, and it should have finished the business. That's a foul by Tim Cahill.
Yep, you're right.
Iraq understandably upset, which doesn't excuse Yunus Mahmoud's outburst because now he's in trouble with that yellow card. But the referee got that wrong. From that point on, Harry Kewell's lead-up work was just exquisite. With the hard bit done, he's fluffed the chance. It was a great one for Australia, and another good opportunity in this Asian Cup goes begging. Finishing hasn't been a strong point of the Socceroos. Become a bugbear of coach Holger Osik.
Tell you what, Andy, easy to see how the referee was deceived there. It looked for all money as though the Iraqi defender was leaning all over Cahill. And it's only on the slow-mo you see that he was holding his arm. That's why he had no choice but to fall over the Everton midfielder. Or striker, as he is today for Australia. Good turn by Samal Saeed, the Iraqi fullback. So we head towards half-time in Doha. Outside of the boot from Nasser Akram on this. Too much weight in it for Yunus. He was offside anyway.
I don't know if he was offside. It was a dangerous moment. The pass from Nasser Akram, again, here's the touch. He's onside. He's clearly onside. It should have been play on. Nevertheless, the pass had too much swerve outside of the foot. It's just a warning sign for Australia from Nasser Akram.
2 minutes of added time as Cahill wins an aerial duel. Ali Karim trying the Jassim Abbas overhead kick quite spectacularly. Who's ahead on points, Andy?
Well, quite clearly the chance have gone with Australia. I think the flow of the football's probably split 50-50, maybe 55-45 Australia, but the chance is definitely with Australia.
Chance here for Iraq perhaps, and Ahmad Mohamed had Hawa free on the left and he didn't see him. He was in acres of room. For Holman, he's found these little areas of space just in between Iraqi lines of defence pretty well from Holman. Carney floats it diagonally. Throw in for Australia. Might be the final chance of the first period. Now goes Wiltshire. Still got the ball. No longer. Akram looks for the switch.
His range is really off. Nasser Akram.
So there we go, half-time at the Jassim bin Hamad Stadium. No goals, but Australia forced 2 or 3 good chances. Matt Mackay having a couple of opportunities, and then right on the stroke of half-time, Harry Kewell over the top. And at the interval in Doha, it's Australia 0, Iraq 0. Well, Andy, it's been an absorbing contest. Hugely enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it has. Well, it's everything that we were hoping for. I think, you know, Iraq, the pre-match speculation that they might be not quite where they were 4 years ago, I think that's fair on this evidence of that first half. But it was a very tight game. Australia, with their noses in front, certainly created the best chances.
Well, Australia certainly started the stronger of the two teams, despite the vast majority of the support in the stands being for Iraq. They were hungry and they were aggressive, Andy Harper.
Well, they certainly were. It started very well, did Australia. It's a new mindset. It's a new mentality, and it's a much more experienced in terms of Asia, at least, football team. And Iraq definitely need to find their best form to get over the top of Australia. There was signs of it developing in that first half, but the first 45 go the way of Lucas Neal's men, and they didn't muck around. Actually, neither did Nashat Akram. He picked up a yellow card for a stray elbow after 25 seconds. It showed a little bit of where Nashat Akram is at the moment. He's certainly trying to lead this team from a midfield position. His passing's been off. It's his first free kick. And a sliced centre, more in hope than anything else.
He's not played a lot of football, has he, Nashat Akram, at domestic level? Left FC Twente and hasn't played much since. And they've sort of huffed and puffed around Australia's bounty area without really forcing Mark Schwarzer into any serious work.
Schwarzer's been untested, completely untested. There's been Mohamed Kassid at the other end who's been tested, mostly by Matt Mackay. He's had two excellent chances. It's not the easiest, but nevertheless, at this level of football, quarter-final Asia Cup, you just need a little bit more silk in that left foot. He does have a silky left foot. So Saltanovsky's going to be a thorn in the side of Iraq's defence from set pieces. He's had a very good game. The partnership between he and Lucas Neal is really starting to develop. They've looked very, very well coordinated. And Australia as a team have defended well. They're up against a very, very capable opponent, but the chances again, beautiful run, good pass, poor finish. Albeit not on his stronger side, he's naturally a left-footed player, Matt Mackay. He's got to at least get that half a yard either side of the keeper, at least ask a question from there.
I do like the way, Andy, that Brett Holman has drifted in field and found those little holes in which he's been able to provide for the likes of Mackay and on occasion Kale and Kewell.
But this was the moment for Australia. I agree with that. Holman's doing a good job. But I think if a chance like that fell to any member of the Australian team, the Australian fans would want Harry Kewell to be on the end of it. And it's missed by quite some margin. But he's had a terrific half, Harry Kewell. He's right at home, leading the line.
So there we go, no goals in the first half between Australia and Iraq, but it has been no less interesting for that. The half-time stats, just 4 shots in target, equally split. 2 yellow cards issued to Yunus Mahmoud, the Iraqi captain, and Nashat Akram, and as you can see, possession evenly split. It's a really good arm wrestle, a really good tussle this third quarter final. Perhaps the goals will flow in the second half. Australia 0, Iraq 0 at the interval in Doha. Welcome back to Doha. It's goalless at the break between Australia and Iraq. A really absorbing first 45 minutes, as you might expect, with two German coaches in the dugouts, two very efficient teams. And Uzbekistan still no closer to knowing who they will face in the last four. Australia have had the better chances, no doubt about that, particularly through Matt Mackay and late on in that first half, Harry Kewell. They have been unable to breach this Iraqi rearguard as they go in search of revenge for what happened in Southeast Asia 4 years ago. But Andy Harper, it's been a really enjoyable game to watch.
Thoroughly enjoyable. I think both sides had claims in that first half. There's no question Australia had the better opportunities at goal. And neither goalkeeper, though, unduly troubled. I'm sure both coaches will be looking to address that in the second half.
The Iraqi supporters in the stands. A lot more of them than there are Australians. It's what is on the pitch that matters. Doesn't look as though either side is going to make a change at the interval. They will give their team great backing. Rosic will be pleased with lots of areas of how his side has played, but perhaps not in the final third. Something they have to put right if they're to reach the semi-finals of the Asian Cup for the very first time and knock out the reigning champions. So Iraq in all whites get us back underway, and immediately a foul by Carl Valeri. We're back where we started, Andy.
Indeed. Perfect symmetry. Australia attacking the goal into which they've scored many of their goals in their visits to Al Sadd Stadium. I'm sure that presents some sort of omen. One question I have of Iraq over that first 45 minutes is the lack of attack on David Carney. I would have thought you'd be trying to test out Carney's shoulder. There was scant evidence of that acknowledgement. I wonder if in the second half they'll launch a couple Carney's way and just see how he aims up. He's dealt with the first 45 very strongly. No apparent signs of him being in any discomfort.
Sasha Ognovsky really having to stretch there. Using every centimetre of his large frame to crane the neck muscles. As you said, Andy, that's a partnership between Neil and Ognovsky. Only a few games old, of course, but showing good signs.
Yeah, I think Ognovsky was one of Australia's best in that first half. Lucas Neil was his predictable, sure self, certainly in the big games. Mackay had an excellent first half.
There's Holman just finding that metre of space again, but miscontrolled. Akram leaves around 2 or 3 Australians for his body check by Valeri.
Well, Carl Valeri's going to want to watch it. He gave away a free kick or 2 in the first half. It was he who gave away a foul after 3 or 4 seconds in the second half. And now on Akram, and referees take a dim view of players making repeated infringements.
Mackay back to help out David Carney on that left flank. Here's Samal Saeed. Cross, it's a good one too. Sorted out though between Wiltshire and Holman. Played by Australia. Neil. And now Brett Holman. Kewell. For Wiltshire. Ioanowski for Mackay. In behind. Good ball by Matt Mackay. David Carney. He was offside. Just for a moment, it looked as though it was about to open up for Australia.
Yeah, beautiful work, Matt Mackay. Look, I'll give this to the assistant referee. I don't think he got anything wrong in the first half. I reckon that should be play on.
Agreed.
It's a beautiful ball from Matt Mackay. Isn't he looking the part at the moment? He's just missing a goal, and we should have had one in the first half.
This is Hamad. Danger here for the Socceroos. Hamad Mohamed, little back heel, and that shot was onto it in a flash, but well read by Wiltshire. Then a poor pass by the Dynamo Moscow fullback. Lifting it straight back to the Iraqis. Just kept in play by Yunus Mahmoud. He's got the throw in front of the mass ranks of the Iraqi fans. Hamad with the centre. Ioanowski was there. Australia pinned back here. Mahdi Karim for Sanal Saeed. Cool as you like, Lucas Mill. Had a good tournament, the Australian captain. Now, Cahill and Kuehl trying to link up. Larry arriving as well. Chance gone for Australia. Kuehl will think Mackay might have been offside. This is Jedinak. Wiltshire. Down the line for Kuehl. Jassim Abbas in attendance. Can he trick his way past the fullback? Almost. But not quite. Build through gifted playmaker Nashat Kran.
Well, again, this is another pass.
Perhaps not quite so gifted.
Well, no, he's gifted. Onside should be play on. It's close enough. Assistant referees need to give the advantage to the attacking team. That's what FIFA says.
Holman, he's been very busy in this game and he's skipped away from Jassim Abbas. Can he deliver the centre? Disappointment for Australia, but again, good work by Brett Holman.
Well, he's outstanding in that phase of the game, isn't he? He's just come along in leaps and bounds. It's a poor cross in the end. There's no hiding from the fact. And a lot of Australia's promising attacks nowadays are coming because of the intuition of Brett Holman, just reading of a situation, a quick decision to go and pressurise the defender to steal the ball, or similarly a run off the ball when one of his teammates has got possession in midfield. Is been a real highlight of Australia's play, certainly in this tournament. Draw that line back to the World Cup as well. He was one of Australia's standouts.
Long punt by Schwarzer, flicked on by Cahill. Kuehl! Just couldn't arch the body around enough to get the angle.
Well, the chance didn't have the gilt edge on it from Harry Kuehl, but I think he's quite right to expect himself to do better. It's actually set up quite nicely. Of course, all his momentum is going away from the goal and towards the corner flag, but he's maintained tremendous balance. He has enormous accuracy normally in that left foot. You could put that down as another half chance for Australia, maybe better than a half chance.
Route one, wasn't it? It's long punt from Schwarzer, flick on from Cahill. Mahmoud having some trouble with his captain's armband. Plays his club football here in Qatar with Al Gharafa, the current Qatari Stars League champions. Abbas, anticipated by Ioanowski. That's super play. Now Mackay, just bobbled off the shins of Matt Mackay. Now Yunus Mahmoud, and he's dispossessed by Jedinak. Good aggression by Australia.
It's a very proactive form of defence for Australia, which I think suits them well. It's a great steal from Ognenovski in that first instance. Jedinek backed himself. Got to be careful there for a descent by action. Here it comes.
He's having none of that, the referee. A little hammer into the book. Third Iraqi to be shown a yellow card. The descent, throwing the ball away.
Well, these free kicks have to be a big chance for Australia. They've got to capitalise. Jedinek, Neil, Ognenovski, Harry Kuehl, Tim Cahill. You've got to favour them, Australians, from these situations.
Nice ball in, Cahill's header. Don't see too much of Tim Cahill in the air today. He's got a bit of a whack on the shoulder as well.
I don't think the delivery was quite what was needed. Australia's attackers had to hold their run. He's picked up his share of knocks in this tournament, Tim Cahill.
Ognenovski has been almost unbeatable in the air, but they've won it on the ground. Iraq, no, here's a chance. Hamad! What an opportunity for Iraq. And Hamad Mohammed, who put Australia to the sword in the World Cup qualifier in Dubai 2 years ago, has spurned the opportunity.
That was Yunus Mahmood. How often? Put a lot of this miss down to the work of Mark Schwarzer. It's only at the last minute that Schwarzer ever commits himself. Beautiful work by the Iraqi skipper. And Hamad, you saw him take that fraction of a second to see where the keeper was. And when he looks, Schwarzer is still on his feet. He hasn't committed. And that the doubt then goes through the striker's mind.
The tempo starting to quicken. The atmosphere starting to rise. Mahdi Karim intercepted by Carney. Well played.
Well marshalled by Matt Mackay.
Now Kuehl. Holman as Australia look to launch a counter. Wiltshire up in support. Cahill lurking on the edge of the box. Holman going on his own. Well, why not?
Well, fair enough too, but I tell you what, it was Matt Mackay who was looming through the inside left channel again. Not for the first time. Here he comes, top of your picture. Had to check his run. Might have been a near thing for offside. Holman quite within his rights to back himself there. So it's a swifter attack from Iraq, and it's an even swifter counter-attack from Australia.
Replay of why Ali Rahema has gone into the referee's notebook. He was not carrying a yellow card into this game, by the way. Yellows do carry over to the quarters, but not beyond. Australia have Ognenovski, Holman and Cahill all sitting on the brink of suspensions. Choose between these two sides. You sense perhaps, Andy, that one goal will win it.
And largely off a mistake. I know Australia and now Iraq have had a couple of fabulous sides from goal. Finishing from either team has been poor the whole tournament. And that's the case. It's mistakes that determine matches. As much as the lead-up plays in both teams on occasions has been really good. But this isn't going to be a 7-goal thriller, but it is going to be a thriller.
Kuehl had one great chance towards the end of the first half. Wiltshire clips it up. Kuehl Oh, the defender, Samar Saeed, just got his body in the way. Again, a good opening for Australia. Cahill was waiting for the touch from Cure.
Good recovery. Really good recovery from Samar. A nice ball over the top from Luke Wilshere. Such a reliable avenue to goal for Australia is Luke Wilshere. He delivered again there. It was a nice cross.
All push and shove inside the penalty area. Neil Cahill, Ogmanovsky all there, but it doesn't arrive. Valeri pulled up. Danger gone for Iraq. Lovely switch of play from Sharakwan. Did he use the arm there, Howard? Red by Mackay. It is very tense here at the Jassim bin Hamad Stadium. Two very evenly matched sides. With such a big prize on the horizon. Down goes David Carney, which will always cause some anxiety on the Australian bench. Looks to be okay. Yorkshire to Kewell. Will go long. Tap Kewell superbly. Holman. Cahill. Jelinek. Well, perhaps it was too much to ask for 3 goals in 3 games, but it was a good move again.
He rounded up, didn't he? Well, Jelinek, look at this. Wooska. Brent Holman was sweating on a fumble. Mohamed Kasida wasn't forthcoming. He was a very tidy goalkeeper. Good attack, Australia. It was launched because of that rocket pass out of defence from Sasha Ogmanovsky to find Harry Kill. And they're the signs that Australia need to build upon. So that, again, it's that willingness to attack, the aggressive mentality with the passing as well as the movement. It served them well in the first half. When they ceased to persist with that, Iraq came back into the game and Australia looked stretched.
Who is going to blink first in Doha? An hour played, 0-0. Both teams have had their chances. Interestingly, Andy, not a single substitution as yet, although that may be about to change.
Yeah, plenty of heated movement in the Iraq technical area. Mustafa Karim is receiving final instructions. Just wonder if that's not for Ahmadi Karim. Let's move Hamad out to the right-hand side of midfield and get Mustafa into the centre, where he can partner Yunus Mahmood.
Have a look at Jelinek's drive. Scored the winner at the stadium from long-range course against Bahrain. Australia's final group game. Australia have a good record at the stadium. Played here 4 times, won 3, drawn 1. Including a couple of games against Qatar in the World Cup qualifiers, of course. Here's Holman again, finding that metre of room. Feeds it through, Timmy Cahill forced a bit wide. Can Cure get there? He can't. And it's put behind by Ali Rahema. And here's the change for Iraq.
That's a terrific attack from Australia. Beautiful work again, Brent Holman. We just ran one man short, Australia, in the penalty area for a tap-in. It is Ahmadi Karim to make way.
Right, Andy. I think Hamad will probably slot over on the right with Mustafa Karim to partner Yunus Mahmood in the middle. Well, corner's going to have to be retaken because substitution hasn't yet occurred.
Good practice run.
So Jassim got an elbow in the face from Ognanovski. That's why he's a little dazed on the turf.
Well, it was Jassim who had that horrible head clash with Qatar in the match against the UAE. The UAE skipper had to leave the field with his head bloodied. Jassim battled on. You won't appreciate another knock in the noggin so soon after the fact.
Kuhl and Rayyan getting much more closely acquainted. The referee's going to put a stop to all this push and shove.
Well, there's a lot of body checking. There's a lot of attackers and defenders trying to block the runs. Here's Harry Kuhl trying to stop the run to give Tim Cahill some freedom in front of goal. The referee quite rightly insisting that's not on.
So finally, here's the corner from Matt Mackay. Lucas Neal's header flicked on by Ognanovski and saved on the line by Mohamed Kassid.
Well, from the set piece, this is the opportunity for which Australia's worked. And all Ognanovski can do with a good chunk of head on the ball is the safe hands of Mohamed Kassid. Again for Australia. So much more could have come.
Well, I don't know what the nerves are like back in Australia or indeed Iraq, but it's pretty tense here, Andy. "25 minutes to go. Will feel those all day. Early release, but he's put Carney under pressure. Out of harm's way by Ognanovski. So close to opening the scoring from that set piece. Here's the new man, Mustafa Karim. Back to Samal Saeed. That's on target from Mustafa Karim, but no trouble for Schwarzer. Jassim Abbas plays for Konyaspor in Turkey. So he had a year with Diyarbakirspor where he was a teammate of Socceroo Bruce Jitte. Very briefly. This is Holman. He's had a good game today, Brett Holman. Jedinak. Kai. Carney stays up on the left-hand side, back heel by Kuhl. Anticipated quickly enough by Mackay. Harry Kuhl. Holman. It's delayed too long. Jedinak will chip it over for Carney. Cross with his weaker right foot. Out of two mates. Jedinak, he's caught Ashak Khan there. Might be in trouble here, Jedinak. Australia's first yellow card of the contest.
Yeah, clear yellow card. I think the referee actually has been quite patient with Australia's two midfielders. To a lesser extent, Jedinak. Carl Valeri, I think, has probably committed in the vicinity of 5 or 6 fouls. Nothing terribly serious, but game-stopping fouls. Worst of Jedinak's incursions. Nevertheless, a yellow card and a fair result.
Ashak certainly felt that. He's having a big tournament, isn't he, Jedinak? His fourth foul of the game, and that was clearly one too many. Floated forward by Rayyan. This is Munir. Mustafa Karim and Nasha Akram. Dug out by Yunus Mahmoud. Munir, carried by Valeri. Switch from Nasha Akram, but no danger for Australia.
Not yet. It's a huge relief for Australia that Nasha Akram's passing continues to miss the mark. As busy as he's looking, he's not looking to shirk his responsibility, he's not looking to hide, so the laws of probability suggest that sooner or later Nasha Akram is going to find the target with one of his passes, which will spell danger for Australia.
Sim Abbas leaning onto Brett Holman, free kick into the path of Kewell. Cahill and Mackay waiting in the middle. Tongued up for Tim Cahill. Came off a racky defender and dropped on top of the goal, with the goalkeeper perhaps stranded. Corner for Australia.
There was a moment, just a brief moment. Again, Luke Wilshere with the cross ball. Just a brief moment. Qasid must have wondered.
Kai, not his best delivery. Clearance by Nashat. It's absolutely pinpoint for Yunus Mahmoud, who then commits the foul.
Valeri. Yunus Mahmoud had the front position. He was outsmarted by the Australian midfielder, who for corners is deployed in a defensive position.
20 minutes to go. Carney hangs it up. Cahill leaps. And Rayyan is again well positioned. Another corner for the Socceroos. Well, they're claiming a push, Iraq.
Tim Cahill is imploring his teammates to get closer to him for these contests. As soon as he's won that ball, he's looked at his immediate teammates, Harry Kewell, Brett Holman, Matt Mackay. Come in closer for these. Get closer to me.
Wiltshire to deliver. Cahill. How many times have we seen those flown into the back of the net off the head of Tim Cahill?
Well, you've got Tim Cahill winning the header. What you need is Tim Cahill on the end of it, sticking his toe in there in anticipation, because he's scored plenty like that in and around the 6-yard box for both Australia and Everton.
With the centre. This is Kewell. It's up with Cahill. Mackay, who's chopped down there by Munir. That's probably a last warning for the Iraqi midfielder too.
What I hope it is. That's callous. High, it's late. Cynical. Free kick in the eyes of the referee. He's done a good job, by and large, the referee.
Carney hangs it up again. They look for Cahill. Again, he wins the header. Again, he can't find Kewell.
It's a bit of a broken record, isn't it? Tim Cahill, no matter who they're putting on him. It is Iraq's tallest defender, more often than not. Salam Shaka.
Came off Rayyan. Not sure neither he or goalkeeper knew where it was headed. Kai lets it bounce, then on the half volley. This could be a problem for Iraq. Cahill slipped by the defender, Salam Sheikha. Brett Holman drives it, and he took a deflection, but not enough to beat Qasid. They're knocking on the door, Australia.
Well, it's a terrific burst from Tim Cahill. Aware of the support he had in an advanced position in Coleman. The deflection helped him out.
Another change imminent for Iraq. Looks like they're bringing on the young defender Ahmed Ibrahim, which perhaps is an indication as to their mindset, unless there's an injury. He's really not found his range, has he, tonight? Yeah, I think there's an injury to Salam Shaka. So Ahmed Ibrahim, who was left out of the starting lineup today after being part of the first 11 against North Korea. Still just 18 years of age. Will come on in Shaka's stead. So here's the new man, plays for Arbil in the Iraqi League. A late replacement in the squad himself for Hussein Abdul Wahed. What an experience for the 18-year-olds. He's probably rarely come up against players of the quality of Cahill and Jewell. So a big test for him.
And Iraq's defence has been tested increasingly over the last 10-15 minutes. Australia, good control of the match. They must remain wary at the back. Catalogue of missed passes from Rashid Akram. It's very uncharacteristic. But that can change in an instant. Guinness Mahmood's peripheral roll can turn in an instant.
Now what about this, Andy? The referee has initially given Australia the free kick. And then he's seen Basim Abbas clutching his head and he's reversed the decision. Harry Kewell can't quite understand it. The signal was clear initially. Australia free kick. Now it's for Iraq. 15 minutes to go. There are still no goals, and we'll be into extra time. Time to measure the cross. Here's Timmy Cahill. They're causing problems with those deliveries from the flanks. A round of applause from Holger Osik in the technical zone.
It's good build-up from Australia. Good poise, good patience, and it's really excellent defending from Samal Saeed. That's twice now he's smothered opportunities on the far post. Tim Cahill has had half a dozen one contests in that penalty area. One's going to fall for Australia's number 4 before too much longer, you'd reckon.
Wiltshire right in towards the goalkeeper, and he's done well there. Timmy Cahill is claiming he was impeding. It's impossible to tell. Huge release from the goalkeeper. It's gone all the way through to Schwarzer. Yesterday, Andy, we had 2 quarter-finals full of goals, full of incidents. This one's just been full of tension and some good quality football.
Yeah, no doubt, and great chances. I mean, Harry Kewell in the first half was Australia's best chance. There were a few. And Hamad with Iraq's best chance in the second half.
Valeri. It's up the ricochet. Everybody bar Yunus Mahmood's behind the ball for Iraq as Carney goes over the top, too deep for Cahill on that occasion.
Australia need to persevere and get better angle on these crosses. I think Luke Wiltshire on the right-hand side has shown the way. tail in his in-thrall.
Top, Kuhl in a foot race against the defender, and he's done well there under the Hamad. Now Yunus Mahmoud threading through for Hamad. Long shot keeps pace with him, and wins a throw in as well. Well played, Luke Wiltshire. Some fans looking a little nervous in the stands. Been beyond this phase of the competition before. 4 years ago, went out on penalties to Japan in the last eight. They're first headed towards a similar sort of scenario here. Extra time to come first, of course. Just in that regard, perhaps Holger Osik keeping his powder dry with regards to substitutions.
He's had movement at all on his bench. The subs have been warming up. Interesting from Iraq's viewpoint, Hawar, the left-sided player, has moved to the right flank, and then has gone on to the other side of the field.
Spread wide by Hussein Munir. There is the dangerous Hamad Mohamed. Short for Mustafa Karim. They work it wide for Hamad Mohamed. Iraq threatening for the first time in quite a while. Kai is there to double up alongside David Carney. And Iraq give it straight away to Tim Cahill. He's only got Kuhl for support. So they'll have to build down the right through first Valeri and now Holman. Holman, chance for the shots, and it's tipped over by Mohamed Kassid.
Terrific effort, Brett Holman. Nice attack, Australia again. Looked like things were breaking down on the left-hand side. Kai and Carney linking up as they needed. It was a deflection that forced a very quick correction from Mohamed Kassid. Did excellently, the Iraq goalkeeper.
Australia have had a plethora of corners, particularly from this side. Can they make one pay? A little variation on the set piece. 1-2 with Valeri. Mackay chips it in. Another corner.
It's been the one aspect of Mackay's game with which he'll be unhappy. He hasn't beaten the first man from a couple of crossing situations. Otherwise, a tremendous performance.
Mackay goes deep. Goes Neil before he spotted a foul. Iraq eager to get on with it. Australia caught out of position here. It's 2 against 2. Mustafa Karim. And they can't profit, Iraq. As you said, Andy, Australia just have to be alive to those possibilities.
Cannot switch off. The game's going to be lost and won from this point. One piece of vagueness from a defender. Piece of ill-discipline, lack of diligence will be costly.
How's your nerves at home? Seven and a half minutes to go. Wins another header. It's been terrific in that regard. Tested him too much on the deck. Mohamed's vital stats has done pretty much all his work on or around halfway. He's in a more attacking zone here though. Hamad Mohamed. on a rack, just as they were about to pull the trigger, were denied by Matt Mackay.
Tremendous anticipation in defence from Mackay, sweeping in from left midfield.
Harry Kewell's won it back for Australia. Needs help. Oh, and he was chopped late there, Harry Kewell. Jassim is going to be in trouble here. Yellow cards. He was very late, the Iraqi left fullback. Yes, you were, says Harry Kewell. Oh dear, that's a bad challenge. Oh. Those are leg breakers sometimes. There we go, the two same players again. Chilwell, of course, from their domestic league games in Turkey. All the noise coming from the Iraqi supporters. The 06 team have been well on top in this second half. Third and final change is imminent for the Iraqis. So we watch again Brett Holman's effort on goal. It's going to be Hamad to be withdrawn. Young striker, new young star, allegedly, of Iraqi football, Abdou actually plays in Indonesia with Masuja Jakarta. He's known as the Qatar of Iraq. We shall see. Charge. Schwarzer has to be smartly off his line, and is just those moments of panic for Australia. They've lost it in midfield. Here's the new boy, Abdou. Over it goes. Schwarzer has to get there and will. Long bomb launched by the Fulham custodian. Kewell claiming he was dragged back. Nothing doing. Final minutes in Doha. One goal will surely win it now. Kale has been caught late. Iraq have got the decision. Question, it was the right decision. Brett Holman took man rather than ball. Hamad feeling the worst of it. Saeed able to keep it in play. Throw in for Australia. Challenge from Holman. It was late, it was a little reckless. He's a bit fortunate not to go into the book. He is carrying a yellow card as well, Brett Holman. Now here's Hamad Mohamed to Nasha Akram. Mustafa Karim. Rack starting to threaten. Jassim free header for Hamad Mohamed. What a save by Schwarzer! What a save by Mark Schwarzer! It fairly flew at the Fulham goalkeeper, and he adjusted his body in a trice. Australia in these closing minutes, all of a sudden, after dominating most of the second half, are on the back foot. Iraq are rampant. Abdou Abdulrahman. Back for Qusay Munir. Wiltshire will slow the heartbeats for Australian supporters around the globe. But Schwarzer again to the rescue, Andy Harper.
Remarkable. Remarkable the consistency with which he continues to save Australia. But they made no mistake, that flurry from Iraq all came because Nasser Akram all of a sudden started to thread some passes.
Here's Holman at the other end as Australia threaten. Matt Mackay needs to get the right delivery. Here it is for Kuhl, bounced off the chest too far. Still Australia come. Now they've lost possession. Iraq on the counter. There's a man down injured too. Mustafa Karim will continue. And eventually he'll decide that his teammate needs some treatment.
Well, Australia with a wonderful opportunity. They should have finished this game off, in truth. More than enough possession in the final third and more than enough dangerous entries into the penalty area. So far they've come out empty-handed. Mark Schwarzer, call as you like, that's what you get with over 20 years experience as a professional footballer, one of the best in the business. Scott McDonald is ready to come on for Australia. A little bit of zip, a little bit of speed to work in behind the tiring Iraqi defenders.
Injury time in Doha. That'll only be the 2 minutes. McDonald awaits his chance. In fact, that's been corrected. It's now 4 minutes. So still time for a winner. Away goes Harry Kuhl. He's not got the pace to get past Ahmed Ibrahim. He's given away 11 years and more to Ahmed Ibrahim.
A series of debilitating injuries too. It's a clear corner. Good late burst. Kuhl's been good tonight.
Is this the moment for Australia? Wiltshire's corner. Ognenovski leaps. Can they put it over the line? Mohamed Kassi did enough. Iraq survive. Now yet an X been pinged for an infringement. Around halfway. Here's the change for Australia. It's going to be Tim Cahill.
David Carney just got a yellow card. Simon, my interpretation. Tim Cahill off. Scott McDonald on. As much as anything for Australia, Scott McDonald in and around these 6-yard areas. He made a career out of scoring goals in that vicinity.
To Valeri.
What a time for McDonald to break his duck if he can. Australia still have to hold out, however.
We played nearly 3 minutes of added time. Abdulrahman gets the cross in. Ognenovski meets it. Kai gets enough on it. Away comes Scott McDonald. That is jersey tug there as well. Wiltshire, flicked on by Kuhl. All the way through to Schwarzer. It looks for all money, as though we're going to go into the additional half an hour. Unless there's some late drama here. Beautiful touch by Holman. Wiltshire, oh, that's a poor pass from Luke Wiltshire. A tired-looking pass from Luke Wiltshire. Now he's got to regain his ground as Iraq come forward through Nasser Akram. He's out of position, Wiltshire. Yunus Mahmoud trying to find the angle. Nasser Akram cannons off the shins of Valeri. It's so tense here at the Jassim bin Hamad Stadium. Less than 10 seconds to go. Qusay Munir. Blocked again by Valeri. And that might just be that. tense game this has been, Andy Harper.
Brilliantly tense. And should have been dealt with by now. It was David Carney with the yellow card. Iraq had one brilliant chance with Hamad. They've had some good flurries of late, but Australia with a catalogue of opportunities to have sorted this quarter-final some time ago.
Jassim hopeful cross really. Schwartz are never in trouble. Early release for Mackay. The goal comes short. The space is starting to appear as the legs tire on both teams. Valeri, Holman. Free kick Iraq. And the 4 minutes of added time are up. And it's ended goalless between Australia and Iraq. We're going to go into extra time here in Doha. Australia 0, Iraq 0, the full-time score. Well, Andy, Australia will feel that they should have won the game in the 90 minutes. However, Wolfgang Sittke's side had their opportunities too.
A chance from Mohammed aside, there is only one way for Iraq to win this game, and they showed how they were going to do that towards the end of normal time. And that's when Akram starts to get in control of the game. When he finds his passes, when he does those little short interchanges through midfield, Iraq throw another option and they look much better than Australia under real pressure when that's the case. Otherwise, as far as chances were concerned, Australia should have dealt with this quarter-final within 90 minutes.
So the masseuses and the physios trying to work some energy back into those tired legs. The conditions, of course, pretty mild here. Would be even worse if we were in the middle of summer. And it has been an enthralling game. Two very evenly matched sides. And as we said at half-time, Andy, Australia were aggressive right from the off. They really have tried to force the issue.
Well, the key for both teams is the same now as it was at the start of the game. Australia's mentality has to be proactive and aggressive. From that, they managed to fashion a number of chances for themselves. And for Iraq, it's all about Nasser Akram. Otherwise, they're playing off the cuff. They're playing in reaction to Australia, and they're not at their best when they do that. That's Australia's best chance to one of Australia's best players, and it should have been 1-0 there. And Mackay with a good opportunity before then. They went into the half-time break with no goals, as it finished with no goals, but it was by and large Australia doing the attacking. It was a succession of crosses and passes, corners into Iraq's penalty area. The more busy of the two keepers, largely untroubled, however, apart from one effort from Brett Holman. That'll be the concern for Holger Racing, as it was coming into the game. It's taking them far too many opportunities to score their goals, Australia.
Yeah, they've just looked a little toothless up front. Brett Holman has a couple of long-range efforts. But still we await the first goal in this third quarter-final. So the coaches have done their bit. Rosic in his all-dark suits. Wolfgang Sittke with the dark jacket and the beige trousers ensemble. Which one of them will blink first? Master against apprentice, of course, on the coaching benches. They know each other very well, the two Germans. And no surprise that the most detailed instruction, Andy, by Sittke is being given to Nasser Akram.
Well, there's the man. Such a super player who's had such a below-par performance tonight. But the flurry from Iraq late in that game was care of their number 5. Australia are going to have to maintain a tight vigil on him, of course. Yunus Mahmood pops up where you least expect him, when you least expect him. They remain formidable and dangerous to Iraq. 90 minutes of domination that basically Australia had earned for themselves is now a thing of the past. It's counted for nothing. What's going in Australia's favour is that they didn't empty their bench. Only one substitution made. Iraq emptied their bench well into normal time.
So half an hour to try and separate these two teams. Otherwise, it will be penalties. And as it was in Hanoi 4 years ago at this stage for Australia, so it is again in Doha. Extra time at the quarter-final stage. Australia hoping for a different result than it was against Japan. Just on that note, just wonder, Andy Harper, if the two teams have been practicing their penalties this week.
We always wonder that when we get to this point of a football match. As a footballer, mentally you're so geared for the 90 minutes. It's such an anti-climax of frustration and disappointment when the 90 minutes comes and no result has been forthcoming. And so the players, through that very brief interchange between normal and extra time, have had to regather their thinking. They've had to muster more motivation. It's going to sound silly even acknowledging that because there's a semi-final berth at stake here, but it's the truth. And it's the team that can find that position fastest will prevail here at the Al Sadd Stadium.
Surely a foul throw from Jassim. We've seen a few of those at this Asian Cup. Referees don't seem overly keen on penalising them, but the Qatari official did penalise that challenge from Hamad. Night has fallen in Doha. Beautiful clear sky, pleasant temperatures. Good football on show. All we need is a goal. Down goes McDonald, appeals for a penalty. And the referee has given the decision the other way.
It's given for a foul, judged by Matt Mackay. There's an awkward tangle of arms, legs, bodies.
That's the right decision.
I reckon that's fair enough, but the foul came for that challenge from Mackay, and I agree with that decision as well. Evidently, Matt Mackay doesn't.
Wins another header. Almost unbeatable in that regards. McDonald onside. Everybody stopped for a minute. Hilarious square. June trying to create an angle, but it's all a little bit forced, a bit hurried by Australia.
Actually looked tired to me, Simon. Players are struggling to get forward. Scott McDonald found himself onside. The Iraqi players were expecting him to stop because Nashat Akram is down in back play care of that challenge. The contact from Rayyan seemed to be much in it. Nashat Akram hasn't moved much, however.
Just wonder whether he's a bit winded, Nashat. There's a bit of afters between Valeri and Qusay Munir.
That's for daring to play on. Australia, as is any team, quite within their rights to play on. The refs in control of when the game starts and stops.
There's a band of Australian supporters behind the goal. Well, in fairness, Jedinak, if you watch his eyes, he is fully aware of where Nashat Akram is. And he's on a yellow as well, Miller Jedinak. Good job for his sake that the referee didn't spot him. That's a clear obstruction. Akram feeling the left knee area in particular. Walking pretty gingerly, Andy.
We're just going to have to play on because there's no substitutes left. Maybe that advantage for Australia is going to come sooner than expected. The fact that Holder Osik has 2 men left on the bench 2 substitute choices left, I should say. Plenty of men on the bench, and they're all dying to get on.
Abdulrahman invited back onto the fields by Abdulrahman Hamad. So Iraq back up to their full complement. We played almost 5 minutes of this first period of extra time. A bit uncertain there by Rayyan. Not a great clearance either by the goalkeeper. Jassim Abbas steadies the nerves. Now Mustafa Karim. Look at the spaces starting to appear. Holman. Donalds 1-2, but it's a bit heavy, that first touch from Holman. McDonald's. Wiltshire. No Timmy Cahill to aim for in the centre, of course, now. He's been substituted. Can head a ball, we know that. Actually scored the winner against Iraq with his head in the World Cup qualifier a couple of years ago in Brisbane. Now he is looping for the ball, beaten though by Ahmed Ibrahim. Now the pressure on Lucas Neal and Mark Schwarzer. Again, the early release from the keeper. Holman. Bit of acceleration. McDonald's, Carney arriving on the left. Can't find him. Still might. I'll tell you what, that's a long way to have to run forward, Andy. Only to have to turn on your heels and go back without receiving the football.
Yeah, indeed. I thought it was a makeable pass there for Scott McDonald too. Come off for Australia. Right, David Carney's had to leg it back from whence he's come. Get it back in midfield. Kuhl feeding Holman. Holman goes around the outside, still going Brad Holman. Another corner for Australia. Excellent burst. A really outstanding burst into the early period of extra time as players will start to drop like flies now with cramp. Brett Holman was a stunning burst of power. Good dribble, forced some pretty astute defending too. It should be said, Ali Hamad with an expert piece of coverage for his team. Another corner for Australia.
And they've really threatened at set pieces. Wiltshire's delivery. Kuhl didn't get there. Ognanovski did. Off the back of Ahmed Ibrahim. Another chance for Luke Wiltshire. Ognanovski with the overhead. Oh, and Jelinek with the touch over the crossbar. Gee, that would have been some goal from big Sasha Ognanovski. Who says that centre halves have no skill?
Well, this is a clearance from Jelinek. That would have been very difficult for Hamad to have saved. Very difficult. I don't even know if the keeper had a play on it. I reckon his weight was going another way. Jelinek, the goal-scoring hero for Australia in games 1 and 3. Game 2 and 3, I should say, has been Iraq's hero for the moment.
Still we wait for a goal. Could Iraq provide it? Schwartz's fist clear. Really great distance. Nasha Akram in towards Yunus Mahmoud. Danger here for the Socceroos. Jassim Abbas on the left flank. Deep cross. Mustafa Karim can't find the teammates. Cleared by Mackay. Only Kuhl on halfway for Australia. Great first touch by Harry Kuhl. Can he link up with McDonald or even Holman? He can't, and the chance is gone.
But it was meant for Holman, I think. Harry Kuhl just slicing the pass. This is going to be end-to-end from here. This is excellent from Ognanovski. Keeper's beaten, and Hamad has to do something miraculous on the near post to save that. It's another butchered chance from Australia, and Iraq are not hanging around to dwell on the fact.
They've got a corner of their own, which brings all their supporters, and there are plenty of them, to their feet. Which way is this quarter-final going to go? It has ebbed and flowed. It's been fascinating. It's been gripping. But no one as yet has been decisive. Nasher Akram whips it across. Nobody there for Iraq. Goal kick.
Nathan Burns ready to come on for Australia. As players tire, as space opens up, Nathan Burns is the man. This is a good decision from Holger Osik. Only question remaining, who will make way?
Who would be your pick, Andy?
Jedinek or Valeri. I think Harry Kewell, unless he's tiring, Kewell continuing to look dangerous.
Just slightly the wrong side of Yunus Mahmoud initially. That's a great tussle. Well, never mind the pleas of the Iraqi supporters. Neil won that fair and square. And so too with Iraq, courtesy of Mustafa Karim. They're still a threat. Iraq, here they go, chance to win it perhaps. Down he goes inside the box, the substitute, Abdulrahman.
What about Lucas there? He took out plenty of man there.
Oh, I think that's possibly, Andy, a penalty.
Well, it's a tight one. It's a tough one for the referee to call in a split second. But it certainly brought the Iraqi fans to their feet. It's my instinct that that was a handball in the first instance from Yunus Mahmoud. And we just watch a football match that gets more and more tense.
Well, Iraq have found a second wind here. It's going to be Brett Holman to be replaced.
Well, positionally, that's straight swap for straight swap. And whether Holman's tiring as well, to me, he was continuing to look dangerous.
Well, I think he's been Australia's best player today.
He was carrying an injury through training. There are a couple of sessions he missed. We should acknowledge that. I don't think Holger Osik would have substituted him without very careful consideration because he's had a tremendous game. It's a big chance for Nathan Burns.
Seventh cap for the youngster from Ajax Athens. Iraq starting to exert a bit of pressure of their own here. The ball's just held up there. Nasher a grand chance, and he's butchered it. Yunus Mahmoud absolutely butchered it. Donalds, check forward by Valeri. Burns getting involved. Oh, but he used a hand, Nathan Burns. Well, they're almost like two punch-drunk boxers here, Andy. Both teams very tired, and they're trading blows. Which one is going to hit the canvas?
Pressure from Valeri late in the game to continue to hound Qusay Munir, whose best option was to turn blind and hook the ball into touch. The pressure is unrelenting for both teams. Australia, as top-ranked team in Asia, have expectations. Iraq, as defending champions, have expectations. As a result, we have a monumental tussle on our hands. Both teams goal shy.
Kewell. Intelligent flick by Valeri. Exactly where Burns was stationed. Wiltshire. McDonald's on target. Not enough power to beat Kassid. He's so grateful, Kassid. He kissed the ball.
Well, they didn't really test the keeper. He's probably right to be grateful.
seconds to go, the first period of extra time. Again, handball against Nathan Burns. That's twice. Tired pass from Kusay Munir. McDonald's showing some good touches since coming off the bench. Clearly fouled. He gets very quickly in a super release. 1 minute of added time at the end of the first period of extra time. Over it goes, mic drop for Kuhl. Here's Jelinek. Rack have got a man down inside the box. Carney. Kuhl. Free header. Oh, side netting for Scott McDonald. Well, it almost occurred in slow motion there. Iraq seemed to be thinking that the referee would stop the play. Scott McDonald, nobody tracked his run, but he couldn't work the goalkeeper.
Well, the keeper had the near post covered anyway. It's a nice cross from Harry Kuhl, just a tad deep. Yes. McDonald's looked lively, as he must do. Iraq are withstanding the majority of the pressure at the moment, but under no illusion, this is a team of fighters.
The end of the first period of extra time. Still, they can't be separated. It'll be a quick change around. No time for any coaching from the sidelines. 15 minutes to find a winner. 15 minutes to earn a place in the last four of this Asian Cup. It remains Australia 0, Iraq 0 after the first period of extra time. The prospect of penalties looming ever larger here at the Al Sadd Stadium. It's a game that's been enjoyable to watch in almost every facet, save for the finishing from both teams. But there has to be a winner. Who will it be? .15 minutes to go. Who will make the mistake? Who will find the little piece of magic? Iraq starting this second period. The offensive. Valeri feeding Wiltshire as Australia come forward. Angle ball towards Kuhl. Feed it in for Nathan Burns, and well, the Iraqis could take no chances. Put behind by Ahmed Ibrahim. It was a teasing centre.
Kuhl again winning the exchange. Hamad down. Receive attention. I reckon this is going to be a repeated pattern. Second period of extra time. Players very tired.
Australia have threatened repeatedly from set pieces. Wiltshire hangs it up. Nobody able to get there. Save for Jassim, who thumps it away. Carney will return it, or at least attempt to. McDonald's can't get there. This is Mustafa Karim. Lucas Neal read it. David Carney under pressure, he's given it away. Chance here for Iraq to win it. And look, Wiltshire gets the vital touch. Goodness me. David Carney just a little too casual in possession here, after Lucas Neal had done the good early work.
The moment froze for David Carney, who is now a very relieved man. Excellent work, Luke Wiltshire. They recovered in numbers, Australia. Going to give this one up easily.
Here's the corner. With pace towards the near post, and it's beautifully controlled by Yunus Mahmoud. Hamad Mohammed now for Nasher Akram! Goodness me, that was close.
Will Australia be warned? By his standards, a poor game from Nasher Akram. The most still of Iran's best moments come when he's in the thick of the action, and this was a stinging drive to Schwartz's near post.
Olga Osik is going to make his third and final change. Presently, Neil Kilkenny will be thrown on for the Socceroos. But not just yet. This is Wiltshire. Valeri forgot to take the ball with him. Well won back by Nathan Burns. Still energetic, fresh off the bench, of course. Neil. Chested down by Kuehl. McDonald's. Early release, it's a good one. Can Carney get there? Can he measure the cross? Nathan Burns leaps. And a drop here for Mackay. He's claiming a foul, nothing doing. And still, the score sheet remains blank. Here's the change for Australia. David Carney for Neil Kilkenny.
Well, physically, Carney survived the test, and but for that scary moment for Australia just a minute or two ago, he survived the football and contributed as well. Now, Neil Kilkenny, let's assume, is going to go into a central midfield position as he did before. Carl Valeri's gone to left fullback. That Mackay stays as left midfield.
Oh, he's done a good job, David Carney, considering the injury cloud that still hangs over him. Kenny getting involved for the first time. Neil on the volley. Brought neatly by McDonald. His touch has been short since coming off the bench. Trying to release Burns. It's clip of the ankles from Nathan Burns.
Just too eager for Nathan Burns. Oh, the defender in his way, the ball arcing away. And it's accidental, but it's frustrating for Australia. Passing Abbas would have been under enormous pressure there. Scott McDonald has found himself in some very good space in possession. His distribution hasn't been great. The big winners out of this so far are Uzbekistan, sitting back in the comfort of their hotel, watching their semi-final opponents slug it out into extra time. Have an extra day's rest in preparation already. Now they've got an extra time scenario for whoever qualifies out of this quarter-final to face Uzbekistan.
Linking with McDonald's to good effect. He's been caught there, Harry Kuehl. Referee didn't see it. McDonald. Burns. Helped by Wiltshire. Burns' cross didn't get past the first man, and now they've got to get back quickly, Australia, and defend. What a ball that is. Nasher Akram to Ala Abdulzada. Now Samal Saeed. Well, tired passes from both teams. Burns. 7 and a bit minutes of the second period of extra time played. Poor ball from McDonald, and again Holger Osik beats the air with his fists in frustration. Possession so valuable with two tired sides. Who is going to land the killer blow? Who played for almost 2 hours. They cannot be separated, at least not yet. Chance for Mustafa Karim, being urged on by the Iraq supporters to have a go, which he did. Donald to make the run. That's broken here for Kilkenny, who has impressed off the bench for Australia in his brief cameos. Leeds United midfielder. Threads a little one through for Burns. Mackay getting involved. Now Mackay is pulled up for the foul. The whistle is blown and Lucas Neal gets the yellow card. He's angry about it too. Doesn't feel it warranted. Trip to the notebook. Forced to check the heavy pressure from Burns, and then finally forced out of play. Good work by the Australian side. There we go, Jassim's had his revenge. Nashat feeds Abdou. Yunus Mahmoud, trouble here for Australia. No offside flag. Mustafa Karim, a teasing centre. Can Schwarzer get there? He fist clear. Australia rocking at the back. Still they come Iraq. Nashat Akram wins the corner.
Well, it was desperate from Schwarzer. It needed to be, as Australia on the rack. And it's a very, very tasty ball in. Yunus Mahmoud couldn't get the contact he needed. Schwarzer relieved because of that, and then just threw himself. Led with the right juke and cleared Australia's lines, for the time being at least, because Iraq with the corner.
The tension continues to build. Taken short by Nashat Akram, and Mackay was quickest to take it off the toe of Mustafa Karim. Four minutes to go. Wiltshire and Kilkenny. Switch of play, a beautiful ball by Wiltshire. Valeri. Even the simple things at the moment, passes like that are difficult to execute.
What happens when you're tired? Fatigue. This is such a corrosive impact on a player's technique and decision making. Both sets of players really have done well to keep those errors to a minimum.
Here goes Matt Mackay. Early release, looking for Kuehl. Harry Kuehl! Harry Kuehl has scored! The deadlock is broken with 3 minutes to go, and it's Harry Kuehl for the Socceroos.
for whom it must feel like they've had 1,000 chances to nail Iraq. And as they did in the World Cup qualifying round, it's Harry Kewell with the head to dispense with Iraq, and it's the Brisbane boy, Matt Mackay, captain of his club team, Brisbane Roar, who sends a message to the people in Australia struggling with the floods. How's your father, Harry Kewell? Australia through to the semi-finals. Matt Mackay with the pass that wins the game for Australia, surely.
Well, they're not quite there yet, Andy. Still a couple of minutes to go, but that is a big, big moment for football in Australia. Never before have the Socceroos been to the last four of the Asian Cup, but they are on the brink here, thanks to perhaps the most golden boy of their golden generation. He's actually off the field at the moment with maybe a touch of cramp or something, Harry Kewell. But Australia are nearly there. Less than 90 seconds. Neil wins an important header, but is then penalised for the push on Nasser Akram.
Well, a test of nerve for Australia. Simon, you're showing far more restraint. Wisely too. Lucas Neal hasn't won the favour of the referee on the last 2 or 3 exchanges that have come forward. Mark Schwarzer marshals the defence. Lucas Neal like a traffic cop in the centre of Australia's formation.
We are into the last minutes of the second period of extra time. Nasser Akram with the ball in. Schwarzer didn't get there, I don't think. Somebody did though for Australia. And they clear up towards halfway. Desperate defending. Well, the Iraqi side, Abdulrahman, was coming back from being in an offside position. Schwarzer will steady things down. What a ball from Matt Mackay.
Super.
And what a header from Harry Kewell.
He's had a brilliant game. Harry Kewell in Brisbane with the header and the pass from the Brisbane skipper. And Australia, with so many chances to have done this in 90 minutes, have had to test their own nerves. They're not there yet, but they're getting very close. And few better on the field than the man in possession at the moment, who has it for the corner flag.
Harry Kewell is but a passenger. He said to Neil Kilkenny when he got the ball there, don't give it to me. He's lame, Harry Kewell.
Now that's a free kick against Matt Mackay. Can't work out, but he hasn't stopped. He has been a great advertisement for the domestic competition in this Asian Cup.
Less than 60 seconds separating Australia from a place in the semi-finals of the Asian Cup for the very first time, and they've got a corner, which is exactly where they want to be. Holger Osik on the brink of taking an Australian team where they have never been before, and a meeting with Uzbekistan here in the Qatari capital. Kewell trying to run down the clock. Is he going to prove to be the match winner? Is he going to be fit for the semi-final?
Yeah, the strange thing, if I could say that, heading wasn't a strong point of Kewell's game as a youngster, but it's certainly become a strong point in the latter years of his career. What a clinical finish.
It's all over. One small step for the Socceroos, one giant leap for football in Australia. They are into the last four of the Asian Cup for the very first time as the champions are vanquished. Well done, Holger Osik. He's won the battle of the German coaches. And well done, Harry Kewell and Matt Mackay, who combined for the late winner that sends Australia through to the last four. What a gripping game in Doha. What tension we had inside the Jassim bin Hamad Stadium, and what a finish by Harry Kewell. Australia win it by 1-0. Well, Andy Harper is a proud Australian. No doubt you're a bit emotional at this moment, but try and put into context what this means, not only for this Socceroo side, but for the game down under.
Well, it's a huge result. I think for the Asian Cup too. I mean, I firmly believe Asia is better for having Australia involved, and there's no doubt Australia's better for being involved in Asia. And just within the context of this game, these two teams love playing against each other. It's the 7th contest now, but Iraq left Australian football in tatters 4 years ago with that summary execution of the Socceroos in Thailand. They were hummed, drawn and quartered, and Iraq marched on to win the Asian Cup. So proudly did they do it, so wonderfully did they represent their country. And since then, Australia with lessons to learn, and they're much stronger for it. And this game was just a remarkably tense match. I mean, Australia took too many chances to win this game. I think that's the clinical assessment. It took way too many chances to finish the game off. I mean, you've got an opponent like Iraq who will refuse to go away. Their toughest team, they fight by the moniker that overpins them. That is the Lions of Mesopotamia. They're a wonderful team with wonderful talent. And the key to this game was the fact that Nasheed Akram didn't fire. On the moments when he did get involved and when his passes stuck Australia in real trouble. But one of the best for Australia, Matt Mackay out of the A-League. It's a rare thing in international football now for the Socceroos to see a domestically based player gain such favour with the national team coach, and he did not look out of place at all. It was a pinpoint cross. It's a completely expert finish from Harry Kewell. And all patriotism and jingoism aside, on the balance of play, I think it's a result that Holger Osik deserved.
Revenge is a dish best served cold, and for Australia they've had to wait 4 years to get that horrible day in Bangkok out of their system against Iraq, but they have done so today. It took an almighty effort. They were worthy opponents, Iraq. They've been worthy champions, and they were doubting fighters again today, but in the end Australia just a little bit too strong. And Harry Kewell, well, he might be coming towards the end of his career, but he's still got it, and he's produced a huge moment for those clad in green and gold. Australia winning by 1-0. They play Uzbekistan in the last 4.